Thanks, Paul. Thanks very much. Okay. While we wait for this to be fixed, well, one thing I have to say, I've never seen a national anthem portrayed this way before, and I can say it's quite, it's so beautiful and so courageous. I mean, those two words that stood out, and I've never seen that before. So thank you for sharing that with me. I think where I come from Singapore. Maybe the government of Singapore could have a version of that as well. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody okay this morning?
Yes.
With our tea, our breakfast, everything okay? All good to go?
Yes.
Cool. Excellent, guys. Thanks very much. I'm gonna apologize before I kick off. I'm gonna apologize if I clear my throat every now and then. I'm just recovering from a bug, so just in case. So I ask for your pardon for moments like that. Okay. So here we are. We're gonna talk about the future of luxury and MICE. And what I'm going to do in the next half an hour, I'm going to marry both. I'm going to tell you something about luxury from a travel corporation's perspective, what we have seen. I'm going to share that with you. And also I'm going to share with you, and then how is it going to translate to MICE and what we have seen. So there's a lot of trends that we have seen in the past 10 years. But first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Bhatia and his team for bringing us here, for giving us the opportunity to share this half an hour with you on what we are able to share in terms of Travel Corporation and a range of products. But more importantly, how is it going to translate into MICE and what it can do for you for the future. A little bit about myself. I'm Nicholas Lim, and I've been 18 years with the Travel Corporation. Started with brands like Insight, then I ran Contiki, and then we got Trafalgar, and then finally Travel Corporation. So it's been 18 short years. It's been quite a journey. And I'm also pleased to share with you today, in our presence, we have my colleague, Darshan. Darshan from the Bombay office, from the Mumbai office, that we've started 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And ever since we started 6 years ago, he and his team has been delivering double-digit year after year. So thank you, Darshan. Thank you, Team India. Thank you. So it's quite a great, so it's a real great market. So, and that's why we have decided to set up our office here in Mumbai and in India, and we're going to extend our footprint beyond that. Okay, so just something about the Travel Corporation. Forbes call us the biggest private travel company that you have never heard of. Okay, and so we are. So you have probably heard of some of our brands. Trafalgar, Contiki, Insight Vacations, Uniworld River Cruises, Cost Saver. So, and then those who deal with a lot of tours to Africa, we have Cullinan Holdings, Thompson's Gateway, African Travel, and so on. And those who go to Australia, for those who have taken a day tour, chances are you probably hop on the AAT Kings day tour product as well. So we've got 25 brands. So we've got about 25 brands all around the world. And we, as TTC, is the holding company that looks after all these brands. And I run that for Asia. So it gives me great pleasure to share some of you today, some of the key brands that we have seen in terms of changes, in terms of how we've evolved in the past 10 years, in terms of our product. So, the past 10 years, this is a little more than a decade ago, where we have seen changes. And, you know, we sat around, just a little bit more than a decade ago, we sat around and we were doing, okay, so we had this management meeting with all the brand CEOs, and we say, how do we improve our product? How do we make it stick? How do we get loyalty? And what we did was we pulled 20,000 of our past guests, our frequent travelers, 20,000 of them. And we had the operations guys sitting down there, and we had the hotel contracting guys sitting around at the table as well. And some of them were saying, oh, you know, this And this was before the results were out. They say, you know, this hotel is going to nail it. It's the best hotel that we have in our itinerary. And the transport guys would say, no, no, no. We've got our best coaches. Our coaches are never beyond 5 years old. You know, we've got the state-of-the-art Wi-Fi, etc., etc. Sorry. So, but you know what? When the results came out, not one of our guests mentioned that they stayed in this fabulous hotel on the Road to Rome itinerary, or this best swimming pool with the best of France itinerary. None of them. Or none of them said about the coaches as well. So what did they say? They shared with us, I had the best time on my Trafalgar because I made friends from around the world. I had the best time on this trip because of the travel director, of who I met, of the locals I met, of the nice, wonderful little hole-in-the-wall restaurant that we had, the best pizza in Florence. So that's something that we stumble on and we say, okay. So we were quite surprised. So we were quite surprised. So we knew that they were beyond hotels and beyond team gala dinners. These are core items that are still necessary for us as we operate today. We still have big, nice dinners. We have still 5-star hotels as part of the package of the itinerary. But it seems that our guests want more and more. So we have to, as a group, we need to take a step back, look at the bigger picture of what our guests from the world want. So Travel Corporation, we run our trips, just to share for those who aren't aware of how we operate. We run our trips as international trips. So on any trip, you will find, for example, if you take a trip to the UK, to London, you will find English, you will find Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Singaporeans, Japanese, Koreans, Indians, Filipinos, Malaysians, everybody roll into one. So it's literally United Nations on wheels. Okay, so we're kind of proud of that. So we were seeing somewhat of a global trend, and our guests want more. Of course, they want the iconic. We still deliver those. We still bring them to the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées. We bring them to the Colosseum and all the bits and all the iconic sites of the world, which we still do. What we are seeing is they want more. And so we tried with a few things. We said, okay, and we distill all this information down, and it came down to one word: the experience. We knew that we needed to inject more experiences in our product. And this is not what we say, is what our guests say. So for example, so things like this, who has been to Florence? Show of hands. Okay. Chances are you have been to the Duomo. You have been to the Academy, where the statue of David is. We still do that. But here, in Italy and in Florence, we take our guests. We do a walking tour. We go to the Duomo. We go to the Academy. And the next day, we give our guests, we work with this chef, Chef Libero. Chef Libero would give our guests X amount of money, okay? And in your best Italian, and bear in mind, we're an international touring company, right? So you get a Filipino and an Indian and an English in your best Italian trying to buy a product, trying to buy produce from a local Italian market. So we'll give you money. So they will all go out to the market and try tomato, you know, veggies, you know, and try to communicate with the local Italian storeholders. And once that's done, Chef Libero will take everybody. So we are thinking, why is he sending us? Why is he sending us to a local market? So once it's done, he'll bring us back to the restaurant, to his restaurant, where we will cut all the vegetables, and we would then make our own lunch. Okay, if you can honestly tell me who would admit that was everybody would say that's the best lunch you would ever have, right? Because you cook your own lunch. I don't think anybody in this room would say, I cooked my own lunch and it tasted horrible. Nobody, come on, all right? So it's always the best lunch. Oh yeah, and then you see, oh, and that's how we deliver Florence as well. Florence as a destination, we'll do all the iconic, but to the guests who have done the trips with Chef Libero, yes, he will still go to Florence, but that's a very different perspective of Florence. And you ask him or her, what was the most favorite part of Florence? Of course, it was all the iconic, but also with his moment with Chef Libero and how he or she cooked his own lunch. So that was Florence for them. So they took away Florence in their little heart, in their minds, in their memories. So that's how we inject an experience factor for all our products. But I'll guess one more. It's not enough. Say, Nick, it's not enough. Okay, so they wanted to have authentic experiences as well. So it's just like me coming here to India. I don't want to have another sweet and sour pork with rice, guys. What I want is cutting chai, cutting chai, dosai, masala dosai, gulab jamun, things like that. Okay, so so these are the things that make it authentic. And Darshan and my team would take me out to all the favorite places, and they would deliver Mumbai to me. And I would take it away and say, that's real cool. So we need to make it authentic as well. And this is where we have all these experiences where we weave into the product and into our itineraries. So, and I think it's more so even for a MICE client or a corporate client who wants more. Yes, of course, they want there's the need for the meetings and the gala dinners, but if you weave that in, I think you can make a very memorable trip for your guests. So Trafalgar is our biggest. Just to quickly introduce some of our brands, Trafalgar is the brand that we have owned for 72 years. One of the largest brands. Not too sure you've heard of, but I think we are quite popular in Europe, where we run most of our trips, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the world as well. Okay, so Trafalgar, 10 years ago, and this has started something called a Be My Guest. A Be My Guest is a dining experience. A dining experience where we go into someone's house to have a meal. Bear in mind, this is not a 3 Michelin star meal. This is someone's house. So we started with Mama Esposito in Sorrento, where we go into her house and she will cook us a meal of a spaghetti pomodoro. And we tried with that. And on every trip, on every feedback that we get on the most memorable part of that trip was having a meal with Mama Esposito in Sorrento, overlooking the cliffs and the beaches and the sea. So that's something that they took back. So we knew that we needed to do so much more. So these are the things, for example, so Trafalgar has now gone into that in 10 years, and it's now weaved in all the Trafalgar itineraries. I'm just sharing all these examples for you so that when you start to plan, and when you start to think about your own MICE trips, you could probably weave some of this in. Inside Vacations followed suit. This is our premium escorted journeys. They are famous for all the 5-star hotels, centrally located, 40-seater coaches, no more. You can see the benefit of that. Panoramic windows, the works. And they, for ages, they were known for that. Those who have taken an inside trip, they would say, great hotels, great coaches, but they wanted more. So we had to weave in things like this, going to an oyster farm, going to someone's house. Or we have this program called Dine Around on the Inside, where we give them, okay, you're in this town or in this city, you go to these restaurants, which is all pre-arranged, and you choose from anything that you want from these restaurants. So within the groups, they will all say, okay, we'll go here, we'll go there, and they will try all the different local cuisine. So these are the things that we are able to innovate and to give to our guests. So these are experiences. And translating that down as well, it's our luxury gold programs, our itinerary, our new brand. So you could have, on the luxury gold, you could have breakfast in your room. It's being brought to you. It's all included. But I think what's more interesting is, again, we have to come down right to experiences. Here, for example, you would meet with the Princess Anita of Austria, and she will take you into her garden, have a cup of coffee with her. And also, for example, go into the Schönbrunn Palace once it's closed. Just to share also, in terms of palaces and all, for Trafalgar, we do a program where, at the Sistine Chapel, where we have a dinner in the Sistine Chapel once it's closed. So we have dinner with the curator in the Sistine Chapel once it's closed off to the public. So that's how we're able to give those kind of memorable experiences that we're able to deliver for our guests. And this especially for you as well, if you think about your trips. So it's about a fine balance, ladies and gents. If I could, over time, we find that it's a fine balance of luxury. We used to talk about the hardware for so long, but now we have to weave in the experiences. We have to make sure that the trips are well planned. They have time for themselves. So things like this, so it's bearing in mind, it's always a good mix of free time, luxury, and authentic experiences. And we thought that's done. We thought, okay, we nailed, done, sorted, but no. Uniworld, we had to extend this to our guests on Uniworld as well. We did a similar feedback, and Uniworld is our fleet. We have a fleet of 17 ships, mostly on the rivers of Europe. This is one of probably the most luxurious product that you can buy on the European rivers. So we thought we had all covered. We had the best wines, we had the best whiskeys, we had the best fine dining meals. Everything's included. Afternoon English tea. We thought we've nailed it. That no, they wanted more. They said, okay, I want to take a walk around town in the local village. I want to do this, I want to do that. So we've included bites. We now needed to put bites on our ships so that our guests can take these bites. Thank you for the cutting chai. Wonderful, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much, sir. Thank you very much. You're the man. You're the man. Thank you. You're the man, bro. No. Love it. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, yeah, okay. Yes, bites and yoga on our Uniworld River cruises. Pastry making for kids, cooking, and this is, if you believe it or not, this is at the lobby of within the lobby of our ship. So we've got 17 ships across, and this is one of the most luxurious product on the rivers that money can buy. So these are the things that we are able to, so we need to deliver as well in terms of our planning, not just, so we don't do the day tours anymore. I think we do all sorts of biking, walking, hiking within a river cruise product as well. What's also fun and funky is a new brand, a new ship that we've put out into Europe. It's called You by Uniworld. To simply put, it's for the young and the young at heart. Okay, so it's for people who really want to chill out and have fun. That's our new boat. You have disco, silent discos. We have mixology classes. And so this, if you have a group of very young executives and clientele and you want to experience that, you could charter the whole ship. I mean, we'll be more than happy to give it to you. So these are so even the experiences that we have on You will be very different on the one on Uniworld. Okay? right? So this is our, very quickly moving on, this is our last last slide of our product, but I just want to share with you the Red Carnation chain of hotels is our chain of hotels. We've got 17 hotels all around UK and South Africa. This is the Ashford Castle, and the Ashford Castle, this is it's newly acquired. This used to be the former home of the Guinness family, so we've acquired it, and we now have to include falconry. There's a 9-hole golf course, spa, and all the things. So even our hotel brands have to get into the act. So that's something that's pretty interesting that we are doing as a group of all 25 brands. If you ever have chances of seeing our brochures or jumping on any of our trips in Australia, in New Zealand, Europe, and North America, South America, you would see that consistency throughout all our brands. So we are injecting a lot more experiences as we speak, and we will continue to do so for our guests. So in the past 3 years, we have seen a new segment emerge. I know that the Indian market is huge with MICE. You know, you guys move 700 packs to Singapore, Sentosa, and because I've seen it, and having a ball of a time, right? So what we have seen across all our products, it's a new segment. And I thought it would be quite interesting from my perspective to share it with you, is that we are seeing a lot more C-level executives. C-level are like the CEOs, the CFOs, MDs, brand heads. So these are the top management going away for their board meetings on board our ships, on board our coaches. They're doing that. So they're not moving at 700 packs, for example. They are 20, 30, 100, 150, for example. So that's probably a segment that we're seeing who want a little bit more and want something that's out of the norm. So that's something that we have started to see in the past 3 years globally. And I think it will come in India. I think from my perspective, I think the growth that we have seen in India was quite amazing. We have seen double digits, as I shared with you when I first kicked off this session. We've seen double digits every year out of India. And these are guests who are buying the top end of our products, Insight, Vacations, Luxury Gold, and Trafalgar. You know, and that, I think that's going to come. I think you get a lot more of your corporates and more of your board meetings where they want a little bit more than just in a meeting room and then having a nice dinner. We are able to, we are seeing groups buying cabins, half a ship, you know, of our Uniworld cruises. They're chartering our coaches on Insight, Luxury Gold, and I think that's going to come. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Just very quickly, a case study on what we have seen. So Bayer Philippines, last year, Bayer Philippines came to us through a travel agent and said, hey, we are hosting 150 of our top distributors around the Philippines. And they came to us and said, we want you to quote. Okay, sure. And we did. But we had told the travel agent, okay, we are going to quote, but it's going to come with a travel director, it's going to come with Be My Guest, because you wanted a Trafalgar product. So with that brand, it comes with all these ingredients, with all these unique propositions. So they said yes, and we knew we were not going to be the cheapest, because we were up against about 3 other Chinese operators, and we won the bid. We operated the trip, but at the end of it, and we were quite surprised. So at the end of the trip, when everything was done and dusted, everybody went home happy, had a great time on the Trafalgar to the east coast of the US. We sat down with the agent and Bayer as well and said, guys, I'm quite curious, why did you choose Trafalgar? Why did you choose us? So the organizer said it very well. I knew what Trafalgar stand for. I knew what it included. I knew that you're going to deliver quality. You are reliable. And I'm hosting 150 of my top distributors in the country, and I couldn't afford anyone to mess up. I knew you had an infrastructure in these places where, touch wood, if anything goes south, you're there to help me out. So those things that, so it struck me that there was this brand alignment. This brand alignment from the product to the client, and it flows through. So similarly for you, I'm sure there are many planners here. It can be a Club Med, it can be a banyan tree, it can be any of this product. What's the alignment? So I think that's something worth thinking about as we progress, as we step out today. So these things, so we get cheap charters. We get charters for all kinds of products. So, sorry, I'm running out of time. Okay. Key takeaways. Just want to share with you. We see a new segment of the C-level executives in terms of MICE groups. The brands alignment are very important. You need to, I think, more and more you will get and you will find more experiences are required, are injected. Your guests will ask you and your corporate clients will ask you, how is your itinerary being balanced? What do you include besides the 5-star hotels and the dining? What else do you include to make it a memorable trip? And most of all, we need to make it authentic. So ladies and gents, thank you again for your time. Thank you again for your kind attention. It's great to be here. So thank you, Dr. Bhatia, again. Thank you very much, everybody.